Our video is focused on consumer behavior motivation. Hope you guys can get some fun from here.
Part 1. Describe the motivation for choosing this experience or behavior. Question. Why have you chosen this particular experience or behavior?
The Chinese team Mihuao produced the action role-playing game Genshin. Our video content analyzes how Genshin attracts players. With its open world design, comprehensive worldview, and extensive plot, the game offers players a completely immersive gaming experience in Genshin. All of this encourage players to make purchases for young people. Genshin is a game that satisfies all fantasies of secondary culture and is immersive, so we choose to engage in this specific consumer behavior. Players pay for the game because they confirm and adopt the game. Games have reached the fifth need for people, that is, spiritual needs. Our group is interested in ACG culture, so we would like to learn more about what is involved.
Part 2. Describe the selected consumption experience or behavior. Question 1. What is the experience or behavior that you are exploring? The consumer behavior selected by our group is to play games on the app and top up for consumption. This game is called Genshin Impact. It is an open-world type of anime game that can be operated on mobile phones and computers. Through a map, the game allows the character to carry out tasks and instance phones in various regions. Then, consumers can get rewards and upgrades. Genshin Impact's main top-up consumption comes from extracting roles and rewards. Consumers can obtain tokens by top up the game, which is called the regional stone in the game. Then, consumers can draw prizes in different lottery pools and can obtain 1 to 5 stars of characters and weapons. Question 2. How do consumers engage in this experience or behavior? Genshin Impact uses 3D screen design to bring players an immersive game experience. The game takes place in a fantasy world where the player plays the role of a traveler. As the protagonist of the story, players will explore the world and meet friends. Players can understand the background of the game more quickly by completing the story. Daily and weekly tasks can also give players rich rewards, which are crucial items for players in the game. Every character has a related element, and different elements need to be switched to target the enemy in a fight. The game's lottery mechanism is divided into 4 types: Novice, Standard, 2 characters, and Weapon Lottery Pool. At the beginning of the lottery, players can draw 20 times in the Novice Pool, and the pool will disappear after drawing. This prize pool can only be drawn 10 consecutive times, and consumers can get a 20% discount. In addition, first 10 consecutive times you draw 4 stars character. The standard pool can draw characters and weapons. In addition, there is a separate lottery pool for characters and weapons. The items in the character and weapons pool are opened every 20 days. And a limited 5 stars characters or weapons is introduced according to the activity. The basic probability of drawing 5-star items is 0.6%. A character can draw 5-star items up to 90 times. 5 stars weapons will appear when you draw 80 weapons at most. Different weapons will be used according to different characters. The consumer gets better characters and weapons, then will be ranked higher. In addition, some consumers will buy more physical strength for upgrading the reward. How often do consumers engage in such experiences or behavior? Consumers usually enter the game every day to perform daily tasks, plot tasks and instance zones to fight monsters, get rewards and materials to upgrade character level and item level. until the physical strength in the game is used up. Consumers of top-up games can be divided into 3 categories: low participation, medium participation, high participation. Consumers with low participation usually buy monthly cards every month and use the rewards presented by the rewards to draw prizes. Consumers with moderate participation usually draw in the lottery pool according to their own needs. Consumers with high participation will draw a lottery every time they update their items. Some consumers will weigh the advantage and disadvantage of purchasing before planning, and some will make impulsive and irrational purchases. Part 3. Explain why the consumption experience or behavior occurs by drawing on any of the theories, models, or concepts that you have encountered on the course or in academic literature. Question 1. Why do consumers engage in this behavior? Genshin Impact is essentially an open-world game, where characters and weapons are obtained by drawing cards, and card drawing is a big part of the fun too. Playing Genshin Impact, the core gameplay of Genshin Impact, is paying a certain amount of cash or pending cash for coins to obtain items, characters in the card pool to improve performance. Items in the card pool are not optional, but appear randomly, and their value is usually inversely proportional to their chances of appearing. The reason why box opening is commonly added to games has to do with its money-making effect, especially if the game itself is of good quality and adds fuel to the fire of the game's ability to draw money. As exemplified by the hugely popular game Genshin Impact, it is a trick to encourage players to spend money using the psychological principles of the Skinner box. Skinner, an American behaviorist psychologist, devised a set of Skinner box experiments in which a white rat or a pigeon was placed in a box, and when the animal pressed a lever, food would fall into the box. The animals soon learned to press the lever. This reveals a relationship between reward and behavior. Simply put, players don't necessarily get what they want when they spend money, but with the psychological expectation that they might win the next time, they tend to keep spending money. Question 2. What influences this behavior? For example, culture, advertising. In foreign countries, paying for random draws is also known as opening boxes or loot boxes. There is nothing wrong with paying for quality games, and randomness is a fundamental element of game design. But there is something special about loot boxes linked to money, and indeed it has some similarities to gambling. A certain amount of cash, a certain probability, and a tendency towards addiction. Currently, the reason for separating random selection from gambling in online games is that items obtained after random selection cannot then be cashed in for money. But with the rise of account trading, it does not seem shocking to include open boxes in gambling regulation. In Europe, a number of countries have explored the possibility of including open boxes in the regulatory framework of gambling-related legislation, warning of the link between open boxes and gambling, and examining its impact on minors. According to data analysis platform Sensor Tower, Genshin Impact compares favorably with the well-known game Zelda, not just because of the difference in their release platforms, but more fundamentally because of the difference in business models. Whereas The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was a buyout, the Genshin Impact was a free download with in-game purchases and the introduction of unboxing, a constant stream of new characters drawn by players. Since its launch, the game has frequently released new versions, adding new characters and events to its content. Each time a new character is released, the game has seen a wave of revenue growth in the East Asian environment, which has its own cultural base of Twister and Blind Box. The acceptance of open box is relatively high. However, the impact of the proliferation of open box games on the development of the gaming industry itself and innovation in gameplay is also causing alarm. The Genshin Impact is just one of the successful practitioners of such games, which can be traced back to Journey and, more recently, the 2016 phenomenon. Characters in the Unmuges draw pool are divided into SSR, SR, S and R ranks based on their ability values. players who are lucky enough to win the SSR are jokingly referred to as Europeans, while those who are unlucky are self-deprecated as non-coasters, which has become part of the game's culture. Part 4. Present broader societal, managerial, and/or personal implications. Question 1. What implications are there to individuals and/or society, people, and the environment of this consumption experience?
From a societal point of view, the consumption experience of topping up in Genshin Impact has dramatically raised the awareness of VCG culture. This experience is hugely influenced by consumers. Adore characters in Genshin Impact. Consumers are willing to pay thousands, 10,000 and even more to support their favorite characters in the game. This is heavily driven by psychogenic needs according to motivational directions in humans. In a nutshell, they indeed do aware that it is virtual, but moreover, they see it as an existence from the background and story of the characters, which can resonate and get their individual values and 4 dimensions of wellness: spiritual, emotional, physical, and social wellness in themselves. Thinking deeply through, I concluded that values have a strong bond to our minds and consumption behaviors. It is imperative to have this twist of thinking when we live or behave. Before taking these values to an adaptive state, identifying the values is indispensable. At the end of the day, does the act of topping up in Genshin Impact really enhance individual values and cognitive skills to serve a positive outcome? The act of topping up in Genshin Impact is simply not only an indication of supporting the game itself, but can also be a suggestion that these players are overly addicted to the game, that they are losing the healthy characteristics in real life. So, we should ask ourselves, how do we approach this consumption experience in a healthy manner in relation to the 4 dimensions of wellness and publicize ECG culture at the same time?
Question 2. What could be done better, different, more meaningful for customers, businesses, and/or society?
To improve this consumption experience, the theory of consumer behavior can be applied to build a better effect. First of all, the company can create extrinsic motivation through social value and functional value. The operator of this product can increase the participation and competition of consumers to stimulate or promote consumption and top-up services. For example, the company can establish a reward system for top-up which is undertaken to reward rare goods according to the level of top-up, so as to generate the mind of rivalry effect among consumers. Furthermore, insinuate the consumers who had a high level of top-up rewards had a sense of superiority and increased their interaction with consumers who had a lower top-up level, so as to further deepen and stimulate their desire for consumption. Secondly, creating instrumental conditioning between consumers enable users to build an idea of more top-up equals a better experience and form top-up as a habit. This created a win-win situation for consumers. They have gained a happy and ultimate experience, and for enterprises, they get better data and achievement. However, excessive consumption may cause a serious negative impact on players' lives. For example, players may spend important funds on impulse, which will result in irreversible serious consequences. As an operator, controlling the excessive consumption of players should also be considered. For example, when recharging, some cumbersome authentication processes will be set up so that players can calm down and reconsider to a certain extent. Furthermore, the maximum amount of consumption for Every single top-up should be limited. Players cannot choose the top-up value subjectively, which can only select from a given amount, such as $10, $20, $50, and $100. Last but not least, players should carry out a daily plan to control their time management, so that they realize the real implications of life, spending more time with family and accomplishing meaningful things in life. Contrastingly, they can also comprehend and spread the significance of Genshin impact.